everybody. Oh, no. Well, let's have the regular one. I'll just shout. Okay, good evening everybody. Good call, can we take apologies for absence?
Councillor Eddie Moores.
Apologies for Councillor Moores and Councillor
Sorry.
Okay, urgent business, I've not received any urgent business. Declarations of interest, if anybody's got an interest in any of the items on the agenda, can you please declare it and can you update the appropriate form. Public question time, I haven't received any public questions. Minutes of the Cabinet meeting on the 5th of December are attached. Anybody want to raise any points of accuracy? Do we agree those are the correct record?
Agree.
Thank you. Okay, item 6, preferred accommodation and top-up arrangements for adult social care. So, Jenny, do you or Maggie have anything to add to the report?
Thank you, Chair. The report sets out Oldham Council's approach to meeting its statutory responsibilities for the liability for payments of fees relating to top-ups. This applies if a person chooses a residential care placement that's more expensive than that set out in the Council's residential care price framework. The top-up is the difference between the cost of the care placement and what the council would usually pay. And it's proposed that the local arrangements for managing and administering top-ups will be undertaken by the council, with the council reclaiming the funds from relatives and families. So this enables the council to adequately manage the risks and ensures that regulations are adhered to. The policy will apply to new and existing residential care residents. So I ask Cabinet to agree the report. Thank you.
It's working now. Very good. You must have the magic touch, Jenny. Okay, so do we agree the report? Agreed. Thank you. Item 7, Oldham's autism strategy.
There's a lot of work gone into the, this strategy over a number of years, and we request approval tonight to jointly publish the Council and the NHS Clinical Commissioning Group Oldham's Autism Strategy for 2017 through to 2020. The Autism Way Forward Partnership Board has been developing a strategy for Oldham, and partners involved in developing the strategy have included partner and provider organisations, individuals with autism and their family members, as well as professionals from various fields. So the strategy will be published jointly between the Council and the CCG. As I've said, it's all age, and it's intended to improve both the design and delivery of services and support by working better together to ensure improved outcomes for people and achieve better value for money. Also, a key objective is to increase awareness and understanding of autism across the borough. So, recommendation to Cabinet is to approve the publication of the autism strategy. Thank you.
And do we approve? Agreed, thank you. The next item on the agenda is the local authority policy on free schools. Amanda.
Thank you. Members and officers will be aware of the changing context surrounding school provision, both this government and the previous government. The reality that we sit in today is that any new school that is opened in Oldham or across the country has to be a free school or an academy. As a local authority, we are prohibited from opening a brand new free school. To put this into context, most members will be aware, as it's come forward to Cabinet several times over the past 3 years, about the places shortfall that we're currently experiencing in the primary sector. Oldham Council has invested over £120 million into our schools estate over the past 6 or 7 years, and a lot of this has gone to our new schools, particularly in the secondary sector, but also a massive expansion of our primary sector, and this is often to deal with the burgeoning places that we found at a primary level. This pupil bulge will move into the secondary sector in the next few years. In 3 or 4 years' time, it's estimated that we'll have a places shortfall in the secondary sector of around 2,000 pupils, and that's on the numbers that we have today. These numbers constantly change, and 4 years ago, those numbers did not look like they look today. So the reality is we need at least one new secondary school within Oldham, and this has to be a free school or an academy. The policy, I think, is a strategic, not a political document. I know it's incredibly similar to the Academy's policy that came before Cabinet in the past 6 months. It would be remiss of Oldham Council not to have a free schools policy. While the decision will ultimately not be one for us, it's for the Department for the Education and the Regional Schools Commissioner in the North West, we must seek to influence, where possible, whoever comes in to open a school in this borough. As members all know and have obviously been a part of over the past 5 and 6 years, I think the leadership of the council over the past 5 years, we've sought to create an identity and something positive and unique about Oldham, and we should look to continue that in every policy that we have. So you'll go through, and there's a list of about 14 bullet points of things we would expect any free school sponsor that wants to come to Oldham to adhere to. So that might be things like committing to the living wage for their employment, signing up to our Fair Employment Charter, and also becoming a part and playing an active role in either the Secondary Heads Group or the Oldham Schools Alliance primary sector, and also a commitment to the 19 recommendations that came out of the Oldham Education and Skills Commission report earlier on in the year. As members will also be aware, over the past 2 or 3 years, we've been caught slightly on the hop. I don't think is an understatement with regards to our free schools. I think that's in the public domain, and we wouldn't want to shy away from that. However, we do not want that to happen again, and we must seek, where possible, to have some form of influence on all our schools going forward. As I said earlier, though, the decision is not ultimately ours, but I hope this frames somewhat what we would hope for the schools of Oldham. I ask Cabinet to approve the report.
Well, as Amanda has made clear, it is not our decision to allow our free school to come into Oldham. However, I think it is important that we have a stated policy as to what we think is the basis for a free school coming to Oldham, because that puts us in a very strong position when we are negotiating with the Department for Education and with the Regional Schools Commissioner as to the appropriateness of providers who might put themselves forward. So thank you for bringing the strategy, the policy forward, Amanda. Is Cabinet minded to approve? Agreed. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the Youth Justice Strategic Plan. Jenny.
Thanks, Chair. The authority has a statutory duty to give an annual update to its annual plan, and in this item we've got the one for 2016-17 in Appendix A, and it sets out the strategy for Oldham's Youth Justice Service, and it demonstrates how we'll achieve the primary functions of the service. So it's things like the reduction in first-time entrance into the criminal justice system, reduction in reoffending following both pre and post court disposals, reduction in the use of custody, effectively safeguard children and young people, and how to effectively protect the public. They are the primary functions of the youth justice system, and how we intend to do that is set out in the report, and I'd ask Cabinet to approve the one for 2016-17. Thank you.
Is that approved? Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the Council Performance Report, September 2016. Here to provide a review of the Council's performance, and you're asked to acknowledge the highlights and to comment if you wish. Any comments? In that case, can we agree the report? Thank you. Next item on the agenda is land to the rear of the former Centre for Professional Development at Rosary Road, Fitton Hill. This is the proposal to provide a grant a 25-year lease to Fitton Hill Bulldogs on heads of terms to be approved by the Director of Economy and Skills for the purpose of providing rugby league pitches along with associated sports facilities and a pavilion for the benefit of all within the local community. This is my report. I recommend it to you for approval. Is that agreed? Thank you. Item 12, temporary staffing supply. So that is item 12. This is Councillor Jabbar's report. It's recommended that we note the outcome of the procurement process and approve the award of the contract to Reed to provide a temporary staffing supply for the next 3 years, and that we approve the analysis of agency spend with a view to reducing expenditure as per paragraph 2.4 of the report. Is that a report agreed? Thank you. And at this point, I need to move the exclusion of the press and public, although I note that there are members of Fitton Hill Bulldogs in the viewing area over here. Please leave the room, but don't leave the building, so that we can clarify if there are any issues around the report. Is that okay? Thank you.